Voices for the voiceless. Yeah. Yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak. Voices for the voiceless. Yeah. Yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak. Voices for the voiceless. Yeah. Yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak. Voices for the voiceless. Yeah. Yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak. Voices for the voiceless. Yeah. Yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak. Voices for the voiceless. Yeah. Yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak. Voices for the voiceless. Yeah. Yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak. Voices for the voiceless. Yeah. Yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak. Voices for the voiceless. Yeah. Yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices for the voiceless. We speak. Voices for the voiceless. Yeah. Yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the voices. Yo, peace and blessings. Once again, it's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless. We going live. Just waiting on my sister Blessed Girl to tap in. But for the meantime, we doing a midday live. You know what I'm saying? So we just having a midday conversation for y'all. So much going on in the world today. We ain't been live in a while, so we thought it was a good idea to come live today and just chop it up with y'all, man. Some things going on in the world today for sure. I see we got Blessed Girl in the building. There she go. How you feeling today, sir?
Hey, I'm good, bro. I was just up, but I don't know. For some reason, I've been having a few technical difficulties here lately. So I'm good though now. But how your day going?
My day is going well. It's the weather here is about 5 degrees outside, so I'm just trying to stay warm.
Ooh, I feel you. We had that type of weather last week. It was pretty. It was cold. It was probably, I think it was around like 2 degrees here. So yeah, definitely the type of weather you want to stay in and just chill
Uh,
out.
yeah, I got me some vanilla black tea. It's nice and warm, so I'm just sipping on that and staying out the way. But
I know that's right.
man, shout out to we got Lex in the building. What up, Lexington? Peace and blessings to you, brother. We waiting
What
on
up, Lexington?
yes indeed, waiting on a few more, people to tap in. But yeah, man, we got a lot to talk about this afternoon. Um, First on the agenda, man, Trump's new border czar. Tom Homan visits Chicago and says that Chicago will be the first city he sends ICE to apprehend illegal immigrants. You know, Mayor Brandon Johnson and the governor Illinois Pliskey have been standing on protecting the illegal immigrants. You know what I'm saying? So that right there, being in itself, is strange. That you would risk losing federal funding, and actually possibly getting indicted to go to jail
Mm-hmm.
behind protecting um, illegal immigrants. No, you know that Trump and his administration is not playing no games. You got Tom Homan out here, you know what I'm saying, holding it down, saying, "Look, Chicago gonna be ground zero. That's where we starting." But shout out to Chicago Flips Red Movement. They made a lot of noise, and they've been out here, man, stomping the pavement. But I want to present something that's interesting. And sis just sent this to me. Um, Breaking news. I think this was yesterday. Sparks fly at a city council meeting right here. So we're gonna go ahead and get y'all some visuals to actually what happened and how the citizens and the residents of Chicago are reacting to Mayor Brandon Johnson.
Chicago of its cruel product. I thank you so much for this opportunity to share my thoughts.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker this morning is Zoe Lee.
I, and state your name,
I, Brandon Johnson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois.
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois.
For nearly 2 years, the city of Chicago has refused to resolve a case that blatantly violates the 5th and 14th Amendment. Instead, they have continued to commit federal law violations and support fraudulent documents filed by City of Chicago attorney Bradley Wilson. Ironically, the city is prioritizing settling cases against the police, even in instances where individuals shot at officers first, while disregarding clear constitutional and legal breaches in this matter. Democrats love to accuse Trump and Republicans of corruption and constitutional violations. Yet, under their leadership in Chicago, Black families like mine face the same abuses: constitutional rights ignored, fraudulent actions covered up, and public corruption left unchecked. Mayor Brandon Johnson, you took an oath to uphold the Constitution. Or when you took an oath, was only intended to fight for the 10th and 14th Amendments regarding illegal aliens? You're paying.
No matter who you are, there are times it can be tough to be yourself when you have severe
For votes to pass the budget, everything about this body and administration is unconstitutional. I keep coming here. You know I've been coming here for 2 years. I don't have to tell you about my case anymore because you know about my case. Mary Richardson Laurie, you know about my case too. And you also took an oath. All of y'all took an oath. Y'all are straight violating the U.S. Constitution, but y'all sit and talk about how Trump is so unconstitutional and how he's going to overturn the government.
Let's just stop it right there. As she's cooking right now. Shout out to Zoe, one of the founding members of Chicago Flips Red, that's going in on Mayor Brandon Johnson. They've been coming for 2 years straight, sis. Really giving Mayor Brandon Johnson that work, and just, I mean, just to give add some context to the conversation, if you could speak to how monumental it is to have such a historical liberal state and city such as Chicago that has always been democratic, to now we have this movement, Chicago Red, and we had a lot of people that have actually went Republican, you know what I'm saying, in this last election. I mean, the city of Chicago got really bad in other cities that have been historically Democratic to flip Republican. I mean, how monumental is that? That we we seeing this in real time.
Well, I think too, I think it literally, this administration flipped it red. Like, I don't know if they just thought the citizens of Chicago would just sit there and allow the things that's transpired, in the community for the last 4 years up under this administration. When you allowing migrants to come in, they're taking over they can't even get the assistance that they need because the migrants are getting assistance. You got people that's losing their homes. You understand, because they're raising the taxes so high, to where people can't afford the taxes, the insurance. So they literally flip it red. You understand? It's almost
Absolutely.
like a job. If I go on my job and I go to sleep on my job, that job didn't fire me. I fired myself. If I'm late on my job, the job didn't fire me. I fired myself. So this administration fired themselves from Chicago.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I
And-
think that it's it's a testament to how they mishandled the taxpaying dollars. Like you said, this lady Zoe is there because they're trying to take her property, and a lot of the people, they're raising these taxes due to illegal immigrants. And then when Trump is saying, "Hey, look, if you're not going to assist us and help get them out, then we're going to snatch away federal funding," which directly affects the taxpaying citizens, people who own property that pay mortgages or own their property, and even people that rent, the people that they rent to, they have to pay property taxes. So it affects everybody across the board. It's for this mayor and the governor to say that they're not going to, work with
yeah,
the new administration that's coming in. I understand the frustration.
yeah,
So I'm gonna let this lady she's really gonna get into her reasoning for why she's there and has been there for 2 years speaking out.
And he's going to do all this. But I've been coming here for 2 years. This is Democratic Party. This ain't Trump. This ain't Matt Gates. We come from the federal level to the state level, to Governor Pritzker, to Kwame Raoul that we cannot find, who's the Attorney General, to you guys fighting for some illegal aliens who haven't put a dime in this country, when my mother has a building that the city of Chicago Buildings Department demolished because this disgrace alderman over there, 17th Ward David Moore, didn't do his duty as an alderman. This falls on you. It falls on you. You're the mayor this time. What was the purpose of you raising your right hand? What was the purpose of that? That's crazy. You are in violation of the Constitution, the U.S. Constitution, the law of the land, the supreme law of the land. That's crazy.
And I think it's important to note, sis, that this particular mayor, Brandon Johnson, ran on the campaign of saying that by no means will I be raising the city of the city residents' property taxes. Like, we could find multiple clips of him saying that during his campaign. So as soon as he gets in office, that's exactly what he does. And I mean, astronomically, he just proposed 300 and some $1 million proposal when the city of Chicago was $1 billion already in debt. So
mhm,
for him to run on that campaign, it's very understandable why the citizens are upset.
mhm. Because you got to keep in mind, these citizens, when the taxes are raised, like, we already, dealing with inflation. So when taxes are raised, probably by the thousands per year on property, it almost forces people to have to lose their property because they can't afford to, keep up with the taxes. So, when you really think about it, I see why, this young lady and the other, citizens of Chicago is banding together, because they're literally trying to come through and just take things that these people and family members have worked hard for, by doing that with raising the taxes. So I commend that community, the Flip Red community, for really standing up and not just letting these people bully them.
Hmm. Absolutely. Let's see what some others have to say here.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Jessica Jackson.
Now, before you get offended and try to stop me from saying what I'm going to say, you're a biblical person, so you say, just like I am. The Bible speaks of stupidity. The Bible says that the children of Israel were a stupid, stubborn, stiff-necked people. That was the reason why they couldn't get out the wilderness. The stupidity of this administration, the stupidity of this administration to think that we don't know any better than to know that you all are going to pass that budget with all those tax increases. The stupidity to think that we don't know that you all could have corrected this stuff a long time ago. The stupidity to think that you all could come with this type of cut, this type of recommendation, and not come with the true accounting of how much money was spent on these illegals. You all have yet to be transparent with that. That's the biggest financial downfall of the city. Yet, there has not been any type of audit, any type of financial accounting for illegal immigration. It is stupidity of this administration to think that we did not know the other day at the budget meeting when they had the law department here, that key members of the law department that sit in here every day, like that Levine, like that other one with the glasses, to think, Mary Richardson, Lori, that you really could make us try to think that the city and the county are so different, so separate, that they don't intertwine with one another, especially when it comes to public corruption.
And no, I'm very impressed that they have done their research. They know who these people are by name, all the aldermen. They called them out. They got YouTube channels and everything. When they they got a hat that they pass around with all their names. They pick a name out randomly, and then they go on their YouTube channel and blast them. Say they're gonna make them famous. These people, these people ain't playing.
They ain't.
Yep. I love it, man, because a lot of times people be like, "Oh, y'all so worried about the federal politics. What about the local politics?" Well, here you are. We see the trickle down effect. People are getting involved. They're getting informed, and it's a beautiful thing. They taking their they taking their politics in their own hand, and they saying, "Nah, enough is enough."
Yep, I agree, bro.
For you to insult people like that, for you all to think that we believe that you did an 800 survey of voters that made you all step back and look at what you were voting on when we stood at this mic. And I told you that if you voted wrong for money, we was coming for them seats. That's where it came from, not from no fake 800 people. So now we're going to continue with what we started. Make you famous Friday until you all get it through your thick heads that we not playing. Afro Elite pulled the name yesterday for Michelle Harris, and she can sit there and rock like she don't hear it, but everybody knows when you hear your name, it triggers something inside of you. Tune in 6 o'clock on Zoe Lee, Leigh, YouTube, We're going to make you famous, Alderwoman Michelle Harris.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Yeah, so I'm, that's right there on Forbes. You know what I'm saying? So that's a brief little clip of what happened yesterday at the city council meeting. So it's very interesting, and also like we were saying, the border czar, Tom Homan, the Trump appointed, the Chicago Red Movement has been telling him to come to Chicago, and he pulled up, and I got that queued up for y'all right here. Some of the residents with the Chicago Flip Red Movement, and border czar came through, and shout out to the content creator, Black Conservative Perspective, and let's get into it here.
Trump and Tom Homan, we need you to please come in Chicago and lock Brandon Johnson up if he try to stop you from coming in our neighborhood and getting these illegals out of it. We, the Chicago citizens, and we, the American citizens, want this. We welcome you. Please come to Chicago and make an example out of Brandon Johnson if he tries to stop you from coming in and getting these illegal aliens out of our neighborhood. And definitely don't forget about Pritzker as well.
The Trump administration's border czar says it's game on come January 21st.
Tom Homan says that's the day deportations will start in Chicago. He even talked about prosecuting the mayor of Chicago if he stands in the way of ICE.
Wow. Yep. Shout out to Big Vi in the building. He said, seems like Lightfoot won't no parts of the BS. Lightfoot was the former mayor before, Brandon Johnson got in there. But yeah, man, Tom Homan pulls up, y'all.
Our Noel Brennan joins us from the newsroom. Noel, Homan made those comments last night during an event in Portage Park.
Right, Erica, and at least one Chicago alderman was there. Another says he met with Tom Homan before the event. Both want to see the city and state work with ICE, but words from the incoming border czar are also stoking fear in the immigrant community.
It's a warm reception for the man promising ICE enforcement in Chicago.
Right here in Chicago, Illinois.
Tom Homan, President-elect Trump's border czar, spoke at a Republican holiday party on the Northwest Side Monday night. Homan is tasked with the biggest deportation effort in U.S. history.
If you're Chicago mayor, doesn't want to have but if he impedes us, if he knowingly harbors, conceals an illegal alien, I will prosecute.
Yes.
Boy. So let's dissect that a little bit. So when Tom Homan says that if they don't comply, that that's fine. But if they try to get in the way of them doing this mass deportation, they could face prosecution. And the mayor, Brandon Johnson of Chicago, and the governor of Illinois, Governor Polisky, has said that they're not going to help and they're going to protect the illegals. So that could be punishable prosecution. So it makes one wonder, sis, what is their purpose of protecting these illegal immigrants?
I told you how I feel like they are protecting these illegal migrants because it's just been a lot of corruption. I think that they've been paid I think that it's definitely money involved because I know I heard I think it was Jessica Johnson, or it was one of the other young ladies that spoken, said that Brandon received $50 million. And so I can believe it, because I'm like, why are you going so hard for these migrants? But again, a lot of people are focusing on Brandon when they should be making a lot of noise for that governor too. You understand? Because a lot of the stuff that's really going on, that, with Brandon, he's sitting there quiet, but you got the governor up there that if he really wanted to do something about what's going on, he can. So, I get that this is with Brandon, but I think the governor needs to be called out a little more too, because I never really hear anything about this governor. It's mainly Brandon's name, because he's the mayor. But I just feel like with the mayor and Brandon, like, for him to go to Venezuela, and like what's really going on. And I do think that it's some stuff that's gonna eventually come out. We don't know, what's going on right now, but it's clear that you're protecting these people for a reason. And most of the time, I'm telling you, when people from other countries come and they migrate, you notice, like, Asians, when they come here, like, they are protected, and they're protected because, from their country, like, I don't know if they be here on some type of like permit or like green cards or different things of that nature. So they have to be, they're protected. But I also feel like in this situation with Brandon, there is just, like, I think that there has been multiple transactions as far as money, and he has gotten himself into something. That's just my opinion. And that's where, this is all of this protecting and saying that you're going to go against, Trump, and you're not going to, really comply, in a sense. I think that it's just a lot of that that's going on. Now, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, and I remember hearing that, and that was Zoe, the first lady that was speaking at the conference that we played, and she did say that allegedly, well, she didn't say allegedly, she said that you received, Brandon Johnson, you received $50 million from the Biden-Harris administration for those illegal immigrants, and that, you were waiting on another $50 million after the election, had they been reelected. But we know that that's not the case now. Trump has been elected. So now it's like you're a sitting duck, and to continue to, advocate for illegal immigrants is just insane. When you look at everything that's at stake, you risking losing federal funding, also possible prosecution. So,
But
yeah,
you know what I believe, Jeff? I believe that he's going to ride this train out, and I believe he's instructed to do this until Trump gets in office. I think the gears are going to shift a little bit with Brandon Johnson once Trump get in office. I
I
do.
I agree. I don't see him continuing to once January 20th hit and Trump is inaugurated, I don't see him continuing this either. But we shall see. Election says the people have spoken and they ain't playing with nobody. I agree. They not playing.
I know that's right.
And Tom Homan not playing either. Let's but a shout out to Black Conservative.
Boy. Once again, we got to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is the city of Chicago and what is happening under woke Mayor Brandon Johnson. So we got to talk about this because Tom Homan has pulled up to Chicago to send a message to the woke mayor. Now, this is after the residents of Chicago have been begging Tom Homan to come to Chicago and to help us with this problem of illegal immigration. We want the illegals mass deported, but woke Mayor Brandon Johnson is standing in the way. Okay, he's protecting the illegal immigrants as his city basically goes bankrupt behind the fact that he wants to take care of them so much. And Tom Homan responded, and he did, in fact, come to Chicago, and he let the residents of Chicago know that if woke Mayor Brandon Johnson stands in the way of mass deportations, then he will be prosecuted, because the mass deportations are going to begin on day one.
President-elect Trump's incoming border czar vowing to make Chicago ground zero for mass deportations.
And WGN's Julian Cruz reports on the governor's reaction and plans to push back.
Good evening. Tom Homan touching on a hot button issue, drawing strong reaction from across the political spectrum. President-elect Donald Trump's border czar speaking at a Christmas party last night, sponsored by a group of Chicago Republicans and the Law and Order PAC.
January 21st, we're going to take this country back.
Yes. Tom Homan setting his sights on Chicago, pointing to Donald Trump's campaign promise to deport the undocumented.
I want to be clear. If you're in the country legally, you're not off the table.
Among those attending, Chicago Alderman Raymond Lopez arguing for the elimination of Chicago's sanctuary city status.
Change the welcoming city ordinance so that we are not giving sanctuary to those individuals who, once they are here, choose to willingly engage in criminal, dangerous activity.
Homan calling on Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker not to impede the Trump administration's deportation efforts, but a spokesperson for Pritzker in a written statement pushing back. Rather than responding to every ridiculous boast from Trump lackeys, Governor Pritzker is focused on what he was focused on during the first Trump term, leading our state with competence instead of chaos. U.S. Representative Delia Ramirez, the daughter of immigrants, reacting as well. Tom Homan, the next time you come to Illinois District 3, a district made stronger and more powerful by immigrants, you better be ready to meet the resistance. Democratic senators on Capitol Hill, including Illinois' Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth, urging President Joe Biden to take executive action to protect immigrant families. Mass deportations would jeopardize the safety and security of millions of mixed status families, the senators say, sowing deep distrust and fear in the communities we represent and destabilize the U.S. economy. The people at Chicago's Resurrection Project deeply concerned about the community they serve, which includes the Dreamers, the hundreds of thousands of children nationwide who were brought to the U.S. by their parents.
Folks are fearful about the mental health implications that this may have on their children.
Ere Rendon says the best defense is for immigrants to know their rights. How mass deportations could impact local law enforcement, an unanswered question. The Cook County Sheriff's Office monitoring discussions surrounding the issue of mass deportations. In a written statement tonight, Matt Wahlberg with the Sheriff's Office saying, quote, under both current Cook County ordinance and state law, the Sheriff's Office is limited in its ability to perform federal duties. The sticky question of whether the feds can access Chicago area jails, a complicated issue legal experts say that's likely to wind up in the courts. In the newsroom, Julian Cruz, WGN News.
Yeah, so you see, now you heard that. Now, as of right now, Democrats are trying to play tough, right, with Tom Homan. I think they're going to lose, okay? And I really don't understand why they just don't want to do this the easy way. Why you got to try to do it the hard way for? Why do you want to pick a fight with Tom Homan and President Trump, especially after Trump got a mandate from the American people to carry out mass deportations? This is what the American people agree with. This is honestly probably Trump's strongest issue, right? Outside of the economy, over half of the American people, I think it's like 60, 70%, want mass deportations of illegal immigrants. Why would you stand against that? There's some Democrats, like, for example, Eric Adams, he's smart enough to come out here and understand where the wind is blowing on this and to say, hey, you know what? If this is what they...
Hey, that's absolutely correct, sis. You know, Eric Adams over there in New York, he's falling in line. He's saying, hey, you know, I was, you know, I had New York as a sanctuary city. But now, you know, after millions of immigrants have, you know, crossed over and into our city and our state, and we see the effects of it, resources being pulled away from the taxpaying citizens have to pay to, house and feed these illegal immigrants, and you see a rise in the crime, you see all the effects of it. He's like, hey man, I'm ready to work with Trump to go ahead and he reading the writing on the wall, so to speak. Mayor Brandon Johnson, he he hasn't got the memo yet.
But a lot of them are leaving on their own, because what happens is if they're deported, I think it prevents them from coming back to get citizenship if you deport it. So a lot of them now they're just leaving before they get deported. But you know what? It just also make you wonder, bro. Like, for these people to go this hard, for these migrants, they act like their life is on the line. These politicians, like Brandon Johnson, I don't know how deep this stuff is with it and what's really going on, but you would think that their life is on the line, because there's no way you fighting against, this just this you're fighting for some illegal aliens when you clearly know that this is illegal. It's illegal.
Exactly.
But you got you got the prison system, and and people that's incarcerated for doing illegal crimes, illegal activity, but yet and still this is illegal, and you still go against what you're supposed to be representing.
It's insane, and like you said, that this is illegal. You got confirmation from the president and everybody that they're not gonna they're not bluffing. They're gonna bring ICE, and and when ICE steps in there, they're gonna get in line. And you know what I'm saying? So you could try to fight against it, but it defies logic. So it has to be some type of incentive, like you said, like they fighting for their life. Like, hey, what kind of dealings that you had that with these other with these illegal immigrants? What kind of business have you constructed? What kind of corruption is behind this? And I think they're gonna get to the bottom of it, what I'm saying, pretty soon. So
Yeah, because one have to ask themselves, like, because I mean, as like Brandon Johnson know the stuff that he's hearing and the things that the citizens are speaking on, and he knows that that's not right. But again, I think he's just too deep in some stuff. I don't know. That's what I think, and I think that he has to carry this out until Trump gets in office. And I think that's when we're gonna see a different side of Brandon Johnson. Watch what I tell you.
I totally agree. But yeah, like say they better get on the right side of good and leave that evil ish alone. I know that's right. Shout out to Lil Mac. What's up? What's good, everybody? Good afternoon. What up, bro? Appreciate you sliding through. But yeah, let's see what else here.
The American people want. If this is what's going to keep my city safe, then hey, maybe we should cooperate with the border czar and the president.
Should there be more cooperation with ICE agents, though?
Yes, I do believe that. I stated this prior to the election, and this is what get me, Marsha. People are saying, okay, after the president-elect is coming in, Eric is now saying different things. No, I was saying this prior to the election. I was saying those who are committing crimes in our city must be addressed, and we should change the current sanctuary city law to address that issue. Mayor Bloomberg knew that. Mayor Koch knew that. The previous administration altered that, and I thought it was a big mistake.
So do you think you could have any chance of re-altering or re-changing it so that there's more cooperation?
Well, the city council made it clear they don't want to change that. They stated they're not willing to change the sanctuary city law. I think they're wrong. I have my teams looking at my power as executive orders. I'm going
Is
to
it possible you could do an executive order?
We're looking at that. The legal team, the corporation council that they just approved, they're looking at, the office is looking at, do I have the power to do so? I have to protect the people of this city. That is my North Star. It always has been. And if you are committing crimes on migrants, on immigrants, undocumented, documented, it's all the same to me. And I want to address.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Now, I don't understand why is this concept so difficult for other Democrats like Brandon Johnson and JB Pritzker to understand, right? I mean, the whole purpose of the mass deportations, at least the initial phase, is to get rid of the criminals. It's almost as if these people want criminals in their city. Why would you want criminals in your city, right? If I was one of these Democrat mayors, I would be welcoming Tom Homan. Hey, come on in, right? Red carpet. Oh, you want to help us fix the crime problem? You want to help us save some money so we don't have to take care of these people? Great, right? Absolutely.
That's the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess we can stop that right there. That's the bottom line. You're saving money and you're getting rid of the criminals. So why wouldn't you support the president saying, I'm gonna come in, we're gonna pay for everything, and we're gonna clear your debt, or help clear it up for you. All you have to do is just comply. So why would you not want to stop crime? Why would you not want to save millions of dollars? It's just insanity to me. It's insane.
I think I think the reason for that is because there's some stuff that's really going on, and the writing is really on the wall, because if you just look at it and think, a person that thinks logically, you would know something ain't right. Why are you just continuing to protect these people? But I can say Mayor Johnson, not Johnson, but
Adams.
what's the Mayor Adams? Yeah. I can say for the most part, when he went on the Breakfast Club, and I said that, like, he kind of was, spilling the beans a little bit on how he did not like how the migrants was, coming in and just taking over, and how, the citizens in New York was really upset and, complaining because, they didn't have anywhere to house them. And so they couldn't work, mind you. Only the migrants from Ukraine was able to come in and work. But from Venezuela, they couldn't work unless they had citizenship. So they will have to provide them with a voucher every day to feed them, and you had to feed them, and you could not allow them to work, and they just was hanging around everywhere. And he said that he was against that then. And shortly after that, that's when I started seeing how they was coming after this man, and he was accused of a few horrendous things when he was as a mayor or whatever. And I said then, yeah, he kind of exposing them a little bit, and now they're coming after him. Well, Brandon Johnson, it just goes to show you, he's going 10 toes down. I'm gonna ride this thing out, because I think it's a lot of stuff that they probably have on him, and I think it's gonna come out with the money and everything. But yeah, it's clear that, and the mayor of Denver here, he's kind of bucking against the administration as well, Trump administration.
Yeah, he kind of backpedaled. He was talking crazy too, and to Tom Homan said, "Hey," he said, "Hey, you willing to go to jail?" Tom Homan say, "I'm willing to put you there." Gotta be like,
I know that's right.
But yeah, shout out to Noobs checking in. He say, "Everybody, I saw y'all online," and to come in and say hi, sick as a dog with sinus crew. So Can't stick around too much. Head is throbbing. Oh man, sorry to hear that, bro. I hope
Sorry about that news.
yeah, hope you feeling
We'll be
better
praying
soon.
for you, brother.
Definitely be praying for you. And we got Muse Black. What up, brother Muse? He say
What's up, brother Muse?
on my way home, he driving. Okay, drive safe, bro. And man, just to wrap this up, I think Lexington put it in a nice, pretty bow. He said they want to keep riding dirty, but hoping nothing happens. Best believe something is going to happen, and that's a fact. Coming down to the wire for these Democratic mayors that want to, protect these illegal immigrants for whatever reason. But yeah, we're gonna pivot a little bit. And some other news, we'll probably chime back in on that later. But the Black Lives Matter movement is crashing out over Daniel Penny acquittal with little to no motion because it was definitely not a racial issue. And if you know, we just did our last live on the Daniel Penny situation with on the subway. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna present this video, and it's the Black Lives Matter leader. And she has some an interview, and I believe this was on CNN, but or News Nation. I'm sorry about that, but just check this out, y'all.
So do you not blame Jordan Neely at all? I mean, for what he did, he deserves no blame from your perspective, right?
Did you hear the witness testimony?
I'm asking you a question.
Cherry picking the ones.
I'm asking you a question. Do you blame Jordan Neely at all for his conduct?
If Jordan Neely was a white man, we'd be saying it was an opioid crisis. He was hungry. He was mentally ill. He had a muffin in his pocket.
I wouldn't be if there were other. What about the witnesses? Let's play again, just so we're clear on the race.
Play Eddie Gibson, who begged Daniel Neely to stop.
Oh, again, but he stayed there throughout the incident.
Play the ones that fit the narrative.
But what's the narrative? There's black women who were on the subway. It was mostly people of color on the subway.
What about a white man during cross-examination who said that he was afraid of Daniel Penny, the one who poured water onto his head and said that he was afraid? He was a white man.
Yeah, okay, so and
what about the Latino man who was holding his arms?
I'm not the one identifying everyone by race. You are. You're the one who keeps telling. Why? Why do you have to? There was nothing in this case.
The FBI, when you look at when hate crimes happen, when you look at when injustice happen to black people,
but let's agree.
Don't get justice.
Let's agree to some. Look, I'm going to be doing a segment later this week on a missing black woman who has not been getting nearly enough attention.
Send it to me and I'll share the
but by the media.
Absolutely.
Because I understand that, and to that degree, you have a fair point about the way sometimes the media and the justice system handles, but not in this case. This case, even the prosecutors conceded Daniel Penny had every right to go hands-on, and the question.
And I want to pause that right there, sis. This is, just to get some context, if you could. Jordan Neely was unfortunately unalive on the subway train in New York, and we did a live on this. Like I said, our last live was on this particular situation. If you could get people like a brief review that may not be aware of what actually happened, to kind of get some context to the conversation.
Yeah, of course. So Jordan Neely is a young man that was unalived on the subway train in New York. He came on the train. I guess he was very irate. He had some mental health issues, and so he came on threatening the passengers and making all type of comments stating that he was ready to be unalived, and he would unalive everybody on the train, and he didn't care about going to jail, and he was sending like a lot of threats. So the young guy, Daniel Penny, he was a passenger, and he said that he sat and he had his earphones in his ear, but you can kind of hear it through his earphones. That the gentleman was so hostile, and irate, until you can just hear it through his earphones or whatnot. So he said he started, yelling in like a lot of the women faces and just was just irate. And so he said he just, Daniel Penny, which is the gentleman that was on trial, just took matters into his own hands and to protect the citizens, because they didn't know whether this young man was armed, dangerous, whatever, but he was sending a threat. So he ended up unaliving him, and he was just on trial. It started probably like a month ago, and so he was found not guilty on all the charges. So
Okay, thank you for that context, sis. And yeah, I think that what we need to understand is that we need to highlight the fact that this was not a racially driven situation. Majority of the people, like this reporter just said, on that particular subway were Black people that felt threatened, and Mexican people that felt threatened by this man. Now, just picture you're on the subway and someone comes in very irate, saying, I'm willing to die today, I'm willing to kill today, and maybe it might be one of you because I feel bad. Nobody's thinking like, is this guy mentally ill? Is he serious? They're wondering, they're trying to get home to their family. They're trying to get to their destination safely. So at no point did anybody on the train, and people that were on the train were witnesses in the trial that testified to the fact that the man Daniel Penny did nothing wrong. They were actually happy that he was there to subdue the man. Now in the process, he threw him in the choke. And in the choke, there were moments where he tried to let the man, young man go, and he did not resist from fighting. So a situation like that, if you ever rode public transportation, you have people that come on that's unhinged, and this guy actually does he had rest in peace to Daniel, the young man that was unalive. He had a history of being violent on this particular subway with other passengers. So I just want to put that in proper context. Great job for doing that. Since I had to make a little slight run right quick, but I'm back so we can go ahead and get to the rest of this and see how this Black Lives Matter has took to the street to protest and things of that nature, and it's not really getting steam. And I'm happy that it's not, because it's not a racial issue. And like Noob said, do she think she knows that majority? Do you think she knows that majority of Black people are killed by Black people? And that's my argument to the Black Lives Matter movement. Is like, where are you when other Black people are killed under different circumstances? You're quiet on that. You haven't done anything for the Black community, although you are $1 billion movement that could provide resources. You got all type of Black people that are being hurt or unalive. It's many different situations. You just be out here race baiting all the time, and I'm just happy that this has not picked up a lot of steam.
Well, I figured it probably wouldn't pick up a lot of steam because this and I said they picked a fine time to present this case. Think about it. It's just after the election, around election time, and here's this white man on trial for unaliving a Black guy or whatever. So they thought that they would get a lot of I think the propaganda didn't really work in their favor this time. And again, like you said, all the billions of dollars that people have poured into, or millions that people have poured into the Black Lives Matter community, why is that money not given back for, like, as we can see, we have the unaliving of our own. And what I'm saying is giving back to, open up like mental health centers, counseling centers, different things that deal with like things that is a kind of go on in our community, because we have, like I told you, like 93% of our killings come from the Black community. It doesn't come from any other race. So, they use this scam, and that's what I keep calling it, because that's what I feel like it is. You only come out to try to keep the rhetoric going, to keep the division going, and it's just not working in their favor anymore. It's just dying at this point because no one is interested in the Black Lives Matter movement, because what have you done for the Black lives?
Exactly.
Besides, you just come out whenever it's a different race of a killing within your own, but you don't come out when it's your own that's killing. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm happy that you said that. Like, where's the Black Lives Matter, where the resources that they created? Because this young guy Jordan Neely was actually, he was schizophrenic. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and I mean, a community that had resources or things that would have been able to prevent him from being in a position like that were not in place. But you care about Black lives. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I'm gonna let this play a little bit longer so we can hear the argument that they're trying to raise.
Question became, okay, when should he have stopped? I understand that.
The time frame on that,
right,
from the DA's office was after 30 seconds. Can you not concede that Daniel Penny was a trained killer? Did he not have his gray belt? United States Marine Corps isn't an assassin.
Sure, but
he knew. Let me finish.
Every Marine is
let me
a
know,
trained
because
assassin.
actually, Black Marines and white Marines have reached out and actually told us he went too far.
But going too far is different from criminal.
Let me break it down. A chokehold, a blood chokehold, which he did. You're only supposed to hold someone in that move for 8 to 13 seconds. You're not supposed to do it longer than 2 minutes. Why did Daniel Penny, when the train was completely clear, everyone was on the platform, why did he hold it for nearly 6 minutes?
Because he was scared.
He was a Marine is scared of of someone he labeled as a crackhead.
Again, is it not possible that Daniel Penny, when he's doing this on the spot, stepping up to help people of many different races, moves in and doesn't have a clock with him to decide when he should stop and when he shouldn't, which is why in the end the jury acquitted, right?
No, actually, Daniel Penny was trained very well by the United States Marine Corps, and he knew what the signs were. He knew when Jordan's body was slacking. He knew that Jordan was going to die.
Okay, so we can kind of stop that right there, discuss that. That was the argument in court, pretty much, that not that he was wrong in subduing the subject, but Jordan Neely. And once again, rest in peace to Jordan Neely. And our prayers are with his family and everything. But when was enough and all of that? Like, at that moment, if you're in the heat of the moment, it's hard to say when, is a good time to let go if somebody is erratic. And like you said, Daniel Penny could have very well been nervous. I mean, he on the subway, he trying to protect himself and other people. And you have Black people that was standing around him at the same time that was going on, actually helping Daniel Penny subdue Jordan Neely. So they didn't see anything wrong with what was going on. They were actually congratulating him in court. So that's a situation where, that argument fell on deaf ears in the court of law because they knew the severity of the situation. Noob says, here's the gross part, and I agree. If the roles were reversed and Daniel Penny was the crazy lunatic on the subway and deleted the guy, he'll be the hero. We would have heard crickets. I agree. If the roles were reversed, then there you have it. It wouldn't be a issue.
But you know what? When you think about it, what she said, they try to just, I guess when they speaking, and they try to make it seem as though, it was this. And I told you, coming from just the empathy, just the emotional side of me, I really felt sorry for him. But my thing is, when he got on that subway train, and he literally was making threats, nobody knew that this guy had mental health issues. And that doesn't still neglect the fact that if you're threatening someone even people that have mental health issues, they don't care about the mental health issues. So to say that he had mental health issues and he should have been excluded, I don't think Daniel Penny or no one else knew that this man had mental health issues while, in that moment. Or even if they knew that he had mental health issues, the fact of the matter is, you don't know what a person would carry out. If they say that they're going to unalive you or they don't care about, like, you don't, that's something there that no one knows. I keep saying, if anything, the system failed him. I don't think Daniel Penny and those passengers failed him because, they was trying to get home. And we don't know how that situation would have turned out, because what if this gentleman would have had a weapon or something and he unalived people that was on the train? Will we still have that same, would it still be presented, or will Black Lives Matter still have that same energy, But since it turned out this way, we want to just use this, this movement and just make it racial when this guy didn't, you understand? Like, he got on the subway with people that was not his race, and he wasn't thinking about, oh, well, let me just do whatever I got to do. He was just trying to save the lives of people, because this young man had been to jail like 42 to 43 times. Not only that, I think he, some lady on in that area, where I think he kind of like disconfigured like her jaw, and then he abducted a 7-year-old kid. So he had a history of doing things,
Exactly. And like Noob said here, you let the guy go, and what does he do then? You think he might be even more unhinged?
Exactly.
And then my other issue with this entire affair is how the family had zero interest in this dude and what he was doing until he removed himself from the matrix. I mean, the family and everybody. I mean, where was his family? I seen his father there at the and my heart goes out to the father and the family. But why was the son homeless? Why was he? That he had been diagnosed with schizophrenia. Why was he just out in society like that? And now you want to sue and all of this, but where were you when he needed you the most? So I got a clip here I want to show that kind of leads us to our next video.
Can I say something real quick, bro?
Go ahead,
real quick. But that you saying that about the dad, I'm like, well, that just goes to show you, like, apparently the dad didn't even want him living with him. If he's had he's been in and out 42 to 43 times in jail. I mean, like you say, where were you? So obviously, if you were around, we don't know if he's lived with you, or he's contacted you. You didn't want to have anything to do with it, because obviously you probably thought he had mental health issues. You didn't want to live with you. So now that this situation is going on, now you want to make it about race and all this other stuff when you clearly knew your child was sick. You knew that.
Exactly. So that's an excellent point. And Noob says, let me ask a hypothetical question. If a dude wanders into a lion cage and starts screaming into the faces of the lion and gets eaten, is the lion racist? Exactly. And that's just the long and short of that. I got Judge Janine here that had and this also shows some of the protests that the Black Lives Matter movement was speaking on, and she gives her analysis of everything. So I want to go ahead and play that right quick.
Devastated, upset, angry, hurt. Over and over again, we keep coming to the system, asking the system to let us know that our lives have value.
Just like everybody else has vigilantes, we need some black vigilantes. That's right.
Look, New York needed.
Wait a minute. Let me play that back, man. You see how animated this dude was, man. Oh no, man.
We're devastated, upset, angry, hurt. Over and over again, we keep coming to the system, asking the system to let us know that our lives have value.
Just like everybody else has vigilantes, we need some black vigilantes.
That's right.
That if this guy is not a paid actor, like
I'm telling you, bro.
oh my God. All right, it is not a, I'm not trying to make light of the situation. I'm just saying, like,
It was just funny, wasn't it? How he was acting up there, wasn't it?
yeah. Because Judge Janine gonna weigh in, and I agree with her message.
Look, New York needed this and America needed this. People need to be able, in a society where we readily admit that we don't have the police that we need, that they've been defunded, they are not everywhere, they're certainly not in the subway. And if someone comes in the subway and says, I'm going to kill an MF for today, and I don't care if I go to jail for the rest of my life, and people are so petrified that they feel like they're going to pass out, or they hide their head, or a woman takes a carriage to bring her baby closer to her, you hope that you've got Danny Penny on that subway car to protect you. And I'm really outraged at these people who are saying we need someone back. How about we do some vigilantism? You know what? Where were you when Jordan Neely was on the list of 50 of the most needy, homeless, and mentally ill people in New York City, a city of 8 million people? This guy had open warrants for assaulting people on the subway. He had 42 arrests in 7 years. Where were you?
I totally agree. With Judge Janine on that. Judge Janine on that. Where were you when this guy, this young man, Jordan Neely, needed the help and assistance of the community to not only protect others for him, but protect himself from himself? Way too often, situations are reactionary when it should have been a prevention set in place so situations like this would not happen. If he never came on that cart threatening the lives of the people on that subway train, and like Judge Janine said, hey, if I'm on the subway cart, I want somebody like Daniel Penny there that know how to subdue somebody that poses a threat. And you got children. You had people that testified in court that they were with their young children, not knowing how that situation was going to turn out. Nothing about that was racial. Nothing about that was anything other than survival at that moment. And it's unfortunate how it turned out. But and we got some people from the community that agree with what we're saying here, that happen to be black people that spoke out. And shout out to the content creator, chat with me, Linda B. And I thought this was a good video to show.
Rather than people looking at this through the lens of safety and a schizophrenic homeless man who said that someone is going to die needing to be restrained, movements like Black Lives Matter have managed to turn this into a racial issue.
Like everything was fact, and still the citizens of the most liberal city in the world, by the way, still knew enough not to charge Daniel Penny with murder.
Welcome back, Warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. Well, Daniel Penny can finally breathe a sigh of relief, as so can all of his friends and family. He was acquitted of all charges. He acquitted of criminally negligent homicide. He was acquitted. Well, they dismissed the charge of manslaughter on Friday, and now the criminally negligent homicide. Well, he was acquitted of all that, but it caused a lot of chaos in the streets. But before we get into it, don't forget to like this video, comment, share, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell, watch the video to the end. Now let's get into it. You know who has a lot to say about the Daniel Penny acquittal? Conservative Black people. Yeah, have lots and lots to say. You guys already have heard what I think, because if you've been watching my videos, you know what I think. Remember, in this judicial system in the United States of America, you are supposed to be assumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So if there's any doubt, then you have to let the person go. I mean, that is how our judicial system is, how it works. I am going to keep repeating that because I think people need to hear that. And I also want to say we have to stop falling for the lies of the media and the Democrat Party because they are behind all of this mess. I told you they were going to try and cause, I'm going to say allegedly, racial unrest. That's what they're trying, but we should stick together anyway, no matter what they do. So here's the man here talking about this very thing, the Daniel Penny acquittal.
The Daniel Penny situation reveals exactly what's wrong with our approach to racism in America, woke culture, and identity politics. For those of you who haven't been following, Daniel Penny is a white former Marine who had an altercation with a homeless black man named Jordan Neely. Jordan Neely had a history of being arrested and was diagnosed with schizophrenia. One day, they were both on a New York City subway. In a moment of desperation and frustration, Daniel Penny expressed that he was tired of being homeless, tired of being hungry, ready to serve life in prison, and ready to die. In addition to that, he said, "Someone is going to die today." After saying that, he threw his jacket on the floor, and other people on the train started to feel unsafe. Daniel Penny decided to step in and restrain Jordan Neely until the authorities could intervene. And he wasn't the only one who tried to restrain him. Another person of color named Eric Gonzalez tried to restrain him too. Unfortunately, due primarily to the chokehold, Jordan Neely ended up passing away. And it's also worth noting that he did have drugs in his system at the time. Now, rather than people looking at this through the lens of safety and a schizophrenic homeless man who said that someone is going to die today, needing to be restrained, movements like Black Lives Matter have managed to turn this into a racial issue. And they're claiming that the reason why this happened is because Jordan Neely is a black man. Now, as a black man, I want to give you some perspective. A few years ago, I was in a park in Santa Monica, California, when a white homeless man harangued me and called me the N-word and threatened to kill me for 10 minutes. Now, fortunately, I was not trapped on a train with him and he kept his distance. However, I felt extremely unsafe. And the reason I felt unsafe was not because he was calling me the N-word, but because he was threatening to kill me. And herein lies the problem. Rather than focusing on the fact that this was a homeless man on the streets of a democratically run city that is so poorly run that we keep on spending money on homelessness while not actually resolving the issue, somehow we all get distracted and get gaslit into thinking that this is primarily an issue about race rather than safety. And what that leads politicians to do is continue to pander to us and play identity politics with their policies because they know that rather than focusing on their ineptitude and the fact that they're allowing homelessness to run rampant, instead we're going to allow ourselves to be distracted and view everything through a racial lens. Now, here's the thing. Racism still is an issue in America, but it's not nearly as much of an issue as it used to be. And I would say it's not even in the top 3 of existential issues facing America, because we're dealing with the threat of a nuclear holocaust and a health crisis that is making us all fatter, sicker, and more depressed. And rather than dealing with those issues, we keep on getting distracted by the most emotionally laden issues. And all that's doing is causing us to be more divided, because rather than focusing on the content of each other's characters, we keep viewing everything through the lens of race.
There you have it. I totally agree with every single thing he said. Okay.
Absolutely. You know, and you know, that's the whole thing about it. I think it's very irresponsible for the media and other people to just, you know, we can let that be what that is right there where it's at. Yeah, I think that is very irresponsible for the media and Black Lives Matter to try to make this in top, because they know Americans are emotionally sensitive to the topic of racism, you know. And I think a situation like this, why it's very much so irresponsible, is it takes away from real situations that are around racism that may be racially driven. I think that that guy really laid it out. So I mean, I'd like to get your thoughts on what he said, sis, and we can, you know, kind of close this section now, because it's like, man.
Yeah. Well, you remember me and you was talking on the phone the other day, and I told you, I said, bro, racism, I mean, it's not saying that it don't exist, but it's not nearly as bad as, the way that, you know, I'm sure the way things used to be, we've gotten better over the course of time of people, just kind of coming together, and nobody really just own that anymore, but just not to say that we just gonna say it don't exist at all. So everything that gentleman said, I do agree with him on. And it's just unfortunate that they've been using this since the beginning of time to keep us divided. So it's almost like, why change something when it keeps working, but now it's not working anymore. If you can continue to make profit off of division and race and different things of that, and it's been working for so long, we're not going to change that. What we're going to do is continue to um, you know, keep that rhetoric going, and we're going to continue to buy up the stations, the media stations, and put actors in place to continue to keep it going, because that's profit for us, and profit for them. So why change up anything when it's working? But now it's no longer working anymore. I'm not saying that it's not working at all, because you have some people that's still stuck on that plantation mindset of just race, and it's just embedded in them. But you have a lot of people that have just woken up now, and they're no longer buying it.
Absolutely. And shout out to A Child. Welcome to the chat. Peace and blessings. Always a blessing to see you. Thanks for coming
Hello,
through. And
A
News said,
Child.
yep, A Child in the building. Yep. Look at all the public resources that were used for this trial. Noob says, how many people could have been fed with that money? Absolutely. I just was surprised that it was even brought into a courtroom when it was unanimous for everybody that rode on that cart that said that, hey, this guy did what was right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's unfortunate what happened, but you got other passengers there that were scared and they didn't know what to do. So luckily, what if that man Jordan Neely would have killed somebody else instead that was innocent, that wasn't ready to die? You know what I'm saying? And you got small children on there like that.
But
And
again, it's a Democratic ran state. So when you think about it, the prosecution, they all work together. So we got to use this. I mean, I'm sure that they knew that was going to be a case, but they didn't care, because we're going to use everything to our magnitude to keep this going. And so I just think that that's something that they knew, that he probably would be found not guilty based on the history of this young man. But they still wanted to cater, what I'm saying, pander to blacks, and just make it racist. So that, therefore, if we do that, they don't care. That goes to show you, they don't care about American citizens. They didn't care about the money that was being spent on this. They don't care.
Yep, exactly. Lexington says the racism only hides what their true agenda is, taking as much money from the people in line about what they're doing with it. Ill. That's ill, man. Yes, News says preserve the gift by any means necessary. Absolutely. So, that's that situation. And I do want to pivot a little bit. We got the United Healthcare CEO, suspect in the United Healthcare CEO unaliving Luigi Menegon or Menegon, or I can't pronounce the last name, so don't get me. But Luigi arrested December 10th after a 5-day manhunt. Evidence includes fingerprints on weapon and written explanation in the notebook. We did a live about this as well, and I dropped a video earlier speaking about the United Healthcare CEO that was on the live. We saw the footage of him being shot down in Manhattan downtown, and it's just interesting to see. It's just interesting to see that this guy Luigi he's a very prominent. He's an Ivy League. He's a young man, by the way, 26 years old, Ivy League graduate, comes from a very prominent lifestyle, from a family that extremely wealthy in Baltimore, Maryland. They have huge assets in real estate, country club owners, radio stations. Some of his family are actually politicians. And then Nancy Pelosi's name is surfacing within the family that his family with certain trading and things of that nature. So there's some political ties. And for people that don't know who Nancy Pelosi is, she's the Speaker of the House, the White House for the Biden-Harris administration. News says, here's my conspiracy theory about Luigi. He didn't do it, but was a part of it.
There you go, News. There
Yeah,
you go.
I think Blessed Girl agree with you.
I agree with you. I agree with you, News. I said it.
Yeah, so
Yep.
I got a video here to kind of give a little back history to the guy Luigi. So we're gonna check that out. I'll be right
He
back.
is no hero. The real hero in this story is the person who called 911 at McDonald's this morning.
Okay, so let me stop that right there. So on December 10th, the guy Luigi was at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania, Altoona, Pennsylvania, where a cashier recognized him and notified the authorities via phone call, and the police came and got him. So that's how he got, apprehended.
This killer was not a hero. He should not be hailed.
The suspect at the center of the shocking killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson is now officially charged with his murder. We're going to be talking about Luigi Mangione, and since his arrest, shocking details have emerged about this Ivy League graduate's seeming fall from grace, from his powerful family ties to the chilling circumstances of how he was caught. Here's everything we know about the man who allegedly killed the CEO of one of the largest health insurance companies in the country. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. It was a twist that sent shockwaves throughout the nation when 26-year-old Luigi Mangione was arrested after being deemed a person of interest in the death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Now, Mangione, this tech enthusiast, this scholar, this man seemingly of privileged beginnings, is officially the suspect that police say killed Thompson. And this all happened in just a day, yesterday, following a harrowing multi-day manhunt that led to Mangione's arrest in Altoona. This is a city in western Pennsylvania. And after he was arrested, Mangione made his first court appearance yesterday, where he was arraigned on the 5 charges that he's facing in Pennsylvania: forgery, carrying a firearm without a license, tampering with identification, possessing instruments of a crime, and providing false identification to law enforcement authorities. Now, he didn't enter a plea on those charges. He's being held without bail. But really what we have to consider these are more placeholder charges. Really what we are concerned about is the crime that he allegedly committed in New York. Why do I say that? Because late last night, we learned that Luigi Mangione was officially charged in Manhattan with second-degree murder, gun offenses, and forgery. Now, of course, eventually he'll have to be extradited. There'll have to be a grand jury indictment, and that is the way that this case will progress towards a trial. But right now, you can charge.
Yeah. So like Noob says, last I heard, okay, New York had not even charged him yet. Okay, so he hasn't been charged yet. He said they recognize him by his eyebrows, so sure that's they call the police. Yeah, it did seem kind of weird. Like, Pennsylvania, some cashier just happened to, recognize him as he was, eating McDonald's in another state. It happened in New York, but then someone in Pennsylvania spotted him just casually, enjoying a Big Mac and some fries, So that was kind of strange. But in any event,
charge someone and arrest someone pre-indictment. But I will tell you one other thing. In New York, the reason he's charged with second-degree murder, not first-degree murder, second-degree murder is just an intentional killing of another.
And I think he's going to be extradited. If he hasn't been, he wasn't charged in PA, he should be extradited to New York. I don't know if he has been yet, though.
Other person. And the reason it's not first degree is because first degree is a little bit more specific. Like the victim had to have been a certain kind of person, a police officer, a firefighter. The killing had to happen maybe in a prison. There are different specific categories, and it doesn't seem at this point that first-degree murder applies. But listen, second-degree murder can carry 15 to 25 years to life in prison. By the way, our plan is to stay on top of this story as much as we possibly can. And for that, I have to call out Upside, our sponsor who helps support this episode. Now, if you don't know what Upside is, it is awesome. It is a free.
Okay, so we can kind of like pivot off of that. You know, just interesting story that they actually, you know, the time that we did the live, you know, they hadn't had a suspect yet. It had just happened around December 4th. It happened on December 4th. We did the live maybe the day after. And now they have this suspect. And, you know, it's just interesting the circumstances surrounding it. And sis, if you wanted to kind of weigh in on your take on everything that, you know, so far into this case with this guy, Luigi.
Yeah. I think I know that he hasn't been I don't think as of what's today, Thursday? I think as of Tuesday he hadn't been extradited. But I've told you from the beginning, I don't think this is the guy. I think and I don't think they have enough evidence other than, like Noob said, the eyebrows to really charge this guy with. And something else that was interesting, I looked at another blogger's channel. I think it was Melanie Kings. I can't remember, but they were saying what was strange was they showed the guy. It's two clips of one of the guy he was at Starbucks, and then you see him again on the bicycle, and then you see him again, and then you see him again, but then the backpack, one of them is gray and then the other one is black, as if it, you know, not saying that he don't have anything to do with it, but almost like they, you know, it was a black backpack, as if it was flipped inside out or something. I'm not sure, but I just got to this is gonna be interesting because I don't think that I don't think he did. I don't think this is the guy. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's yeah, because the circumstances surrounding the arrest is strange to say the least, right? News says I think this guy may be the guy that was tossed out into the wild so that the real guy can, you know, be low, you know. Yeah, that could be the case. Well, as the case unfolds, you know, we will definitely keep it tuned. It's an interesting. It's almost like a movie, right? You know, you got this big CEO guy that just, you know, walking down the street, go on his way to a meeting at 6 in the morning in New York and downtown Manhattan, and you know, someone comes up from behind him 20 feet away. Shell casings from that shooting left him unalived, and they had encrypted words on them. You know, alleging that maybe someone was mad about not receiving health care. It's crazy, almost like somebody else, you know, placed the bag in Central Park. I'm saying, but yeah, y'all. That's pretty much all I had. We just want to do a quick midday live and keep y'all updated. We haven't been live for a while, you know, so I just wanted to bring that to the forefront, and you know, we could speak about it. I'll drop the link if anybody wants to hit the link to give their thoughts. We appreciate everybody coming through. And since you got anything you wanted to touch on or any other topics?
No, not at the moment. No, not that I can think of right now. Of course we're gonna dig a little deeper on the next our next little live. We'll, you know, talk more about the Jay-Z situation, because I did want to talk about that a little bit. But as of now, no. I'm just glad everybody was able to join us today for our midday live. We haven't been live since Sunday, so we try to keep y'all in the loop with certain things, political things and just what's going on in the world. So, but yeah, I don't have anything. I'm just glad that we were able to do this live today and everybody was able to join us. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, the Jay-Z situation, that's something we want to touch on. And also something I want to get more familiar with. There has been sightings of some drones, some foreign drones that have entered into the U.S. I think somewhere over the East Coast, which the Pentagon cited, but they're not really doing anything about. So I want to get some more information as to what happened with that. News says, "Pardon me if I don't hold my breath while the FBI solve it all for us." Exactly. So yeah, with that being said, we did reach our first milestone, and I want to thank everybody once again for helping us reach our first milestone of 100 subscribers plus. So we thank y'all, we love y'all, appreciate, and please tell a friend to come over to the Voices for the Voiceless. You know what I'm saying? We could use the support. We thank you very much for reaching our first milestone. Absolutely.
Definitely. Thank
Okay.
you guys so much. Because we are at 104 subscribers. So yeah, if you guys can definitely bring us some subscribers over, we have authentic content. We just have, and this channel is everyone's channel. So, just bring have your family, friends, whomever to subscribe. We would definitely appreciate it. Definitely appreciate the support and the supporters that that be on our live pretty much every time we go live. So all support is definitely appreciated. We thank you guys so much for that.
104 subscribers. We on our way to becoming a co. News is funny. Hey, hope you feeling better, bro. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate it. So with that being said, man, we're gonna get up out of here. Y'all enjoy the rest of your afternoon and your evening, and we'll be back soon. Lexington says allegedly the illegals are running to the border. Yes, yeah, a lot of them are trying to get up out of here. That's why rhetoric is important, because a lot of that is going to situate itself.
Well, when you think about it too, what Leslie said, they came over here and they was able to come up. So when you go back to your other like when you go back to your other country, like the American dollar, it does hold some weight. So when they go back to their country, they'll probably be okay.
Yeah, they got a chance to come over here and run it up for close to a year.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them been here for 2 years or more. Throughout this administration, we had these open borders pretty much the whole term. So a lot of them, they was able to run up a bag. They go back to Venezuela or Haiti or wherever they came from and cash out.
Mm-hmm. And live good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're gonna get up out of here, man. We love and appreciate y'all. We appreciate the support. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Peace and blessings.
Good day, everyone.
Yeah. It's the Voices for the Voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the Voices for the Voiceless. We speak. Voices for the Voiceless. Yeah. Yeah. It's the Voices for the Voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the Voices for the Voiceless. We speak. Voices for the Voiceless. Yeah. Yeah. It's the Voices for the Voiceless. Different points of view and different choices. We the Voices for the Voiceless. We speak. Voices for the Voiceless. Yeah. Yeah. It's the voices for the voiceless. Different points of view and different choices.